Workers of Area 51. What isn't there? Grandfather was stationed there for 20 years. He would never talk about it. Literally took it to his grave. Nothing. Very boring. Please don't visit. My grandfather was also briefed and about to ship out there before he retired from the Air Force. The only thing he said to me about it was, if there were any aliens there, they're all dead now. I was 12. Still the most ambiguous answer he's ever given me about his military career. Also he said they were working on the nuclear stealth bombers. 50 progressively smaller areas, one inside the other like Matryoshka dolls. I know this is satire, but I've been working in Area 51 for 6 months now as a mechanic with the US Air Force. Fun fact, this actually counts as a deployment and I get extra pay for working at Area 51. There's really not much here. We used to use the base to test spy planes, but after it became popular in the media we moved spy plane testing to Area 52. These days the only interesting things on base are the Blockbuster, the Toys R Us, and the Martian Embassy. I skated in there on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. It was neat. Hey man, I just cleaned the bathrooms here, but I've seen you wouldn't believe. *CLASSIFIED*. It's where all the missing socks go. I know a guy who worked there. It's just planes. Look, we are just normal people like all the rest of you. I put on my pants one Zaflan at a time. Believe me, there is nothing special here. It's not like an alien race is slowly introducing greenhouse gases into the atmosphere to terraform your planet into a hotter climate, so your ice caps will melt and decimate your population, to give them a new home, because Mars dried up due to our mass cultivation of its resources. It's just planes and stuff. Trust me. Minecraft 2. Area 51 was a place they tested Project Mogul. It really was balloons, they just weren't for weather. As a way to monitor Soviet nuclear tests, balloons would float in the atmosphere to record seismic waves caused by the detonation of nuclear warheads. Obviously, they didn't want the Soviets to know their plan, so they let people buy into the whole alien crash landing nonsense. Real life and in girls. This is purely speculation and goose walk, but I'm pretty sure my grandpa worked there on classified planes. He couldn't tell us where he worked, or what he did specifically. Sometimes he had to stay overnight for a few days, but couldn't say why, and sometimes he had to call and say he wasn't going to be home that night, but would be home the next day. Stuff like that makes me think it was test flights that he had to be there for, as he's a plane mechanic. He also mentioned once that his security clearance was higher than the president, and when I asked why, he said his job was need to know and the president wasn't on the list. He said he had such a high clearance level that they called people as far back as 5 years old in preschool. Now IDK if that's normal procedure for a clearance level or not, but that part always struck me as some serious stuff. He had a paper route when he was 7, and they attempted to reach the owner of that company who had long since passed, but they got in touch with the spouse, who was like 98, and asked her if she remembered him and could report on his character. Crazy stuff. Grandpa was retired Air Force and pretty much worked for this place his whole career, and after he retired he became a civilian contractor doing the same thing. Half-Life 3. Anyone else going through all the comments trying to find that one person who actually works in A51? No, just me. Okay cool, just wondering. It only exists for the sole purpose of keeping you from asking about Area 52. Actual Area 51 employee here, aliens, cats, gold bars, President Obama, bricks, ice. Joking, I'm not an Area 51 employee. Like the rest of this thread. Just all the milk that expires in the grocery store. I'm late to the game here, so I might be buried, but it looks like I'm the only one here that's *ACTUALLY* been to Area 51. I haven't been inside any buildings, but from the outside, visible parts, it doesn't look much different from any other Air Force base. But oh god, the flyovers. First off, the signs are terrifying and true, and I've received numerous warnings not to pass the warning signs, even in a government vehicle. My background? I worked for the US Fish and Wildlife Service, which manages a 1.3 million acre refuge known as the Desert NWR. It exists mostly for the study and benefit of desert bighorn sheep. The public portion of the refuge is small, and the hunting permit area is slightly larger. But there's a lot of off-limit land that acts as a buffer to Area 51. Even working under official government capacity, it was well known that you could be blown out of the water for being in the wrong areas. I mean, even the sheep have a decent chance of being murked, and they are, so don't try to sneak in dressed as a bighorn sheep, it'll end bad. Whenever I cross the line my heart will go into my throat. I've never seen combat, but I can guess that's the feeling you have the whole time. My hopes and dreams. There's no aliens. Just advanced aircraft and prototypes. And toxic waste that was dumped here years ago, but has mostly been cleaned up in the last couple of decades. Massive alien that's been going on for the last 70 years. Air Force officials deemed it too for human eyes to comprehend. In all seriousness, it was a testing facility. It's surrounded on 3 sides by mountains, making it difficult to surveil. We know a lot about it because they used to burn all sorts of experimental in a pit, and a bunch of ex-workers sued in federal court because they couldn't be treated because the government wouldn't say what they were exposed to. The base was built for U2 originally, so this fits with long-term purpose. Boy, they really did go to extreme lengths to battle piracy of their music. Well, supposedly Bob Lazar said there are alien spacecraft there. Well, actually at S4 located south of Area 51. But apparently we've been trying to backwards engineer them for decades. If it's all to be believed. Bubble tea. Anti-vaxxers and Karens, they are created in pods to keep the population distracted from the real stuff in Area 1. I mean, think about it, have you ever seen a kid named Karen?